Let's talk NFL draft rumors on today's show. Welcome on into NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson running through the 5 biggest draft rumors I have heard, and I'll tell you whether I am buying or selling that rumor. Now, if you are ready for the NFL draft, which is less than 3 weeks away, hit the thumbs up button. The more likes we get, the more NFL content driven around the draft we will put out. So if you are looking for more mock drafts, rumors, anything under the sun related to the 2024 NFL draft, hit that thumbs up button down below. Now let's get right into it, starting with our first rumor, which is JJ McCarthy going to be the second quarterback taken in this year's draft? I am selling this. No. JJ McCarthy is not going to be QB2 in this draft class. Matt Miller and the folks at ESPN recently put out an article with a lot of the nuggets they are hearing, and Miller wrote on what the most surprising thing he's heard being JJ McCarthy QB2. If this was one or two people saying it, I'd probably dismiss it as the usual April draft buzz that doesn't come to fruition. But enough sources around the NFL are whispering that McCarthy could well be the second quarterback off the board that it has to be considered possible at this point. Stop the cap, Matt. No. JJ McCarthy is not going to be the next Washington Commanders quarterback. He is not going to be the second quarterback taken off the board. And this isn't even me saying JJ McCarthy sucks as a quarterback. It's just a simple acknowledgement that stop putting down Drake Maye for no real good reason other than you're bored and you want to come up with really juicy headlines and stories. So, yeah, let's boost up JJ McCarthy for a little bit of buzz in April. If I really had to think about where this rumor came from, my guess is you've got teams like the Patriots, the Giants, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Vikings that are all looking for a quarterback, maybe trying to boost up JJ McCarthy's stock so the Commanders feel peer pressured into going to JJ, and then Drake Maye is available for one of them at 3, 4, or 5. But no, JJ McCarthy will not be the second quarterback taken in the 2024 NFL draft. Will he be a first-round pick? Yeah, that much it does seem like that's going to happen. He comes off a very good season with the Wolverines, was one of the most all-time winningest quarterbacks in college football. That is something that GMs and coaches value when looking at quarterbacks coming out of college, although I personally wouldn't put too much stock into that. But we have been down this road before, where every single year the draft comes and the experts, the gurus, which I'll say have a very difficult job trying to predict what 32 teams are all going to do in the draft, they tend to boost up one quarterback that never really sniffs the first round. I mean, last year it was Will Levis. All these guys had him going 4th overall to the Colts. Not only did not go top 10, of course, he did not even go round 1. But that's not just a one-off, right? Go back to 2022. And who was it in 2022 that got a ton of smoke and attention from the media? Malik Willis. Not only was he not the second quarterback taken, he did not go round 1, despite Kuiper, Jeremiah, like people that are intelligent and well tapped in saying they're hearing Malik Willis could be in play for round 1. The guy was a 3rd-round pick. And then if that's not enough for you, how about in 2021 when everyone unanimously said Mac Jones is going to the 49ers at pick number 3. Mac Jones was taken 20th overall, 17 spots later. So every single year, we see a quarterback get boosted up, then it never really happens. This year, I think it's JJ McCarthy. Now, who do you think the second quarterback will be taken in this year's draft? There is some real smoke around Jayden Daniels maybe being a better fit for what Washington is looking for. Although, if I think about Dan Quinn, the new Commanders head coach, and the most success he's had in the NFL was with Matt Ryan in Atlanta, Drake Maye is a lot more of a Matt Ryan type quarterback than Jayden Daniels is. So I think it's Drake Maye, and I think it's a very smart selection for Washington. Second rumor, are the Jets trading down? I'm going to buy this, actually. I do think there is not only smoke around this, but it's got some legs to it. And I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. But today's show was made possible thanks to our friends over at Game Time. Spring is here, which means we have baseball to watch. Playoff basketball and hockey are around the corner. And you should not have to miss any of the action because of ticket prices. With Game Time, you can get killer last-minute deals and all-in prices for all the big events. All you have to do is download the Game Time app and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. One of my favorite features about Game Time is the ability to see all-in prices. There's nothing worse than spending 30 minutes looking for tickets, going to checkout, and then the fees and taxes hit you, and it's double than what you thought it was going to be. But with Game Time, you can just turn on all-in price, so you know right from the start how much the tickets are actually going to cost. It's the best place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports, if spelling is hard for you, for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's get back on track with the Jets trading down, which I am buying. Why? Because in free agency, they accomplished their biggest need, which was to find new offensive tackles. They brought in Tyron Smith from Dallas. They traded for a familiar face in Morgan Moses. So they have satisfied their biggest need. And I still think they may go offensive line because Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses are not, spring chickens. They've definitely got some years on them. But I could see New York looking at their draft arsenal for 2024. No second-round pick. They got a third, and that's it for days 1 and 2, round 1 and round 3. And they are more than just 2 pieces away. So I feel like New York may look to trade back, acquire a second-round pick, and still find a quality player a few spots back. Now, when you talk about who could they be trading with, well, I've got 6 trade-up candidates in mind. The Minnesota Vikings, although that would just be from 11 to 10. The Denver Broncos, if they want to jump Minnesota and get a quarterback before the Vikings do. Same goes for the Raiders if they want to jump the Vikings and the Broncos. What about the Seahawks, right? Could they go from 16 to 10 if they want to get a quarterback, but they don't know if it'll be there past Minnesota, Denver, and Las Vegas? Also, the Eagles have 2 second-round picks. I wouldn't be surprised if they use one of those second-round picks to move up in the draft and go get a true premier player to help keep them competitive in the NFC. And then with the Buffalo Bills trading Stephon Diggs, what if the Bills jump from 28 to 10 to try and go get one of the top receivers in this draft? Moving on to our third rumor, are the Broncos going QB at pick number 12 no matter what? I'm selling. I don't think it is that done deal secured that the Broncos go quarterback at 12 no matter what. And I'll tell you why. Because when you look at my personal round 1 projections for quarterbacks, I don't think any of these 4 quarterbacks escape the top 5. Now, the JJ McCarthy smoke is that. It's a lot of smoke right now, and I still have a tough time fully buying in on it, but when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of people saying he's not escaping the top 5. I don't think he's going 2, but I think he may go number 4, and the Vikings can put together a better trade offer than the Broncos can to move up from 11 and 12 to number 4 with the Cardinals. So if J.J. McCarthy's gone, I don't think Denver will reach on Bo Nix or Michael Penix, and I think pick number 12 would be a reach for one of those 2 guys. So with that in mind, I would say watch for Denver to actually trade down, right? Try and acquire more draft capital because they are a little on the lighter side as well. They are without a second-round pick. So maybe they decide to go from 12 back a few spots, pick up a second-rounder, and then in round 2, that is when they go and get Bo Nix or Michael Penix. So keep an eye on that for Sean Payton in the Mile High City. Next rumor up, are the Patriots staying put at number 3? There's been a lot of chatter that they are open to trading the pick, and it would have to be for some historic haul. I am buying that they are staying put at number 3. I think they may want to see what's out there. You've got a new entire regime with Bill Belichick gone that I'm sure would love to see what kind of offer like a team like Minnesota could make, and maybe that would sway them if they don't love Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye. But I think that they're going to stay put at 3, and I'll tell you why. But here's what Tom Curran from NBC Sports wrote. From what I'm hearing, it's going to take a lot more than that for the Patriots to be moved off their spot because they, as a team collectively, understand the opportunity that these three quarterbacks represent at the top of the draft. I think new head coach Gerard Mayo goes QB at pick number 3 because not often do you inherit a team that is picking top 3, right? If you're picking third overall, well, your team is likely in a bad spot, which means you as a head coach do not have solid ground. So if Gerard Mayo is going to inherit a team that's picking third overall, my suspicion is he'll want to go quarterback because if all goes well for him, he never picks top 3 again, right? So he may never have this good of an opportunity to go get a quarterback in the top 3. And if he is picking top 3 in the future, he may not be the head coach making the selection anymore. You know, if you're picking top 3 in 2 out of 3 seasons, something tells me heads may roll in Foxborough, and Gerard Mayo may not be around for that next second, third, maybe even first overall selection if things are that bad. So if you've got a rare opportunity to be picking top 3 and not feel like you're on the hot seat because you weren't the one who was responsible for the Patriots sucking that much, then my suspicion is you won't pass up on a great opportunity to go get a quarterback. So then the question becomes, which quarterback? Well, you're just going to take the Commanders' sloppy seconds. Does Washington go Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye, right? For New England, let's just say that they are 100% in on one quarterback and 100% out on the other. Maybe if the guy they're in on goes to the Commanders, they are open to trading back, but I still think Mayo's going to want to stay put at 3 and go with whoever Washington passes on. Now, a question I want to toss you away here is, will 3 quarterbacks from this draft make a Pro Bowl? Every single year, we talk about the quarterbacks just being like future Pro Bowl caliber guys, can't miss, super high upside on all of them. But history will tell you that every single year, that's not true. I mean, very rarely do you see more than 2 quarterbacks become successful draft picks for teams in the NFL draft. So, will this year's quarterback class be different? Let me know what you think. Type Y for yes, type N for no. 5th and final rumor, are the Giants going QB? I'm going to sell this idea. I think New York is going to stay put at 6 and go more of a best player available approach. Now, Giants owner John Mara, he says slightly to the contradictory of what I said, but let's give the full context. He said at the NFL owners meeting, if they fall in love with a quarterback and believe that it's worth pick number 6 and we're moving up, I certainly would support that. I let the general manager and the head coach build the roster. We have operated the same way for many years here. If they have a conviction about a player, I'm not going to get involved. So I don't think the door is completely shut. As much as it is, for example, like JJ McCarthy going number 2, this is a little bit of a softer sell. But I think the Giants have bigger fires to put out. Not that Daniel Jones is looking like an absolute disaster of a contract, but they can get out of that contract without too much losses after 2024. And right now, they've got some other work to do on this roster, like their wide receiver room. I still am a believer in Jalen Hyatt, the Biletnikoff winner from 2 seasons ago. But after that, like even with Hyatt, you do have some question marks, right? You haven't really seen a whole lot from Wan'Dale Robinson to believe he could ever become a wide receiver 1. Darius Slayton looks like a great wide receiver 3 or an average wide receiver 2 for any team. But I think the Giants are looking to upgrade at this position. And then there's the offensive line sucks part, right? Andrew Thomas is the only playable player on this offensive line, it looks like. You can look at their PFF ranks from last season. Evan Neal, I fully expect to get kicked into the inside. He can't play tackle in this league. He's a guard. And the Giants, I'm sure, are going to work around that. They had a lot of injuries up front last year as well. But collectively, it was one of, if not the worst, offensive line in football. So with all that being said, with a lot of help needed at wide receiver and quarterback, I don't know if tossing JJ McCarthy behind that offensive line, if he's available at 6 with those wide receivers, is going to produce any better results than you're getting right now. So when I look at the Giants draft targets, I think they are looking at one of these guys, right? Rome Odunze or Malik Nabers will surely be at 6, If the Chargers go Nabers like I think they will, then the Giants will have a decision to make. Do they want to go Rome Odunze, or do they want to go offensive line, right? Everyone's somewhat penciled in Joe Alt to the Tennessee Titans at 7. But what if New York decides, let's go get Andrew Thomas and Joe Alt, and whoever's going to play quarterback for us, they're going to have more than a few seconds to throw the football. That will do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed our draft coverage and content here, consider subscribing below, and we'll see you all next time.